Okay, so we've all felt it, right? That mental scramble when it comes to family finances. It's
Yeah.
like you're, excited about a family vacation one minute, then you're like, wait, what about those soccer fees? And oh no, the car needs new tires. It's like a constant game of financial Tetris.
It really is. And it's something that so many families grapple with.
Yeah.
And it's what we're diving into today, a deep dive into the fascinating world of family finances.
Ooh, deep dive. Love it.
Now, we have some really great material to guide us through this. It's excerpts from familyfinances.pdf.
Okay, great.
And full transparency here, the folks who put this together, they're really knowledgeable, but they also want to emphasize that things change in the financial world.
Right.
So use your best judgment, always consult with a professional if needed.
Right.
But our goal here is to really pull out those key nuggets of wisdom from this document.
Yeah, those like actionable things that people can actually, take away and use.
Exactly.
So think of this as your cheat sheet to family finances.
Love that.
Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to take this topic that can feel really big and overwhelming and break it down into a clear and structured understanding of how to plan your family finances.
Yes.
We're hunting for those aha moments. The ones that make it go, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
I can actually do this.
Exactly. Those light bulb moments.
Light bulb moments, yes.
And the resource really starts with this fundamental idea that comprehensive family financial planning it's not just about crunching numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right.
It's about weaving together the dreams, the goals, the resources, and yes, the responsibilities of every single person in your family unit.
So it's not just me and my partner, after the kids are asleep trying to make sense of the bills.
Right.
It's recognizing that everyone has a role to play,
Exactly.
whether they realize it or not.
Yeah, and the benefit of this, this holistic view that the material talks about is that you're much more likely to have all your bases covered when you're thinking long term. You get this much clearer picture of the future you're all working towards together.
It's like you're all on the same page,
It's like having a shared destination
Yeah.
instead of just, wandering aimlessly.
Yeah. Love that analogy.
And that collaborative approach, it can create some really positive momentum.
Ah.
The material highlights how when families plan together, it can actually strengthen their bonds
Cool.
and build resilience for those inevitable curveballs life throws your way.
Because they will come, right?
Well, they will come.
Like that leaky faucet that always seems to break at the worst possible time.
Always at the worst time.
So the resource talks about the importance of building in what they call a comfortable leeway.
I love that term, comfortable leeway.
Right, and they actually define it. It's like having that buffer of savings equivalent to 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses. So that when those unexpected things happen, you're not totally derailed.
You've got that cushion.
Yeah, that cushion, that
Yeah.
safety net.
And it's really about inspiring your family members to kind of get on board with the plan.
Okay.
It's not about imposing rules. It's about having those open conversations about where you're at financially,
Right.
what your goals are, what you might need to adjust. And that can actually instill a sense of responsibility. Everyone starts to see how their actions impact the bigger picture.
Right, and they talk about involving children from an early age,
Yeah.
which I think is really interesting.
It is.
Obviously, age appropriate, but not burdening them with worries, but just helping them understand.
Understand.
Money doesn't just appear magically.
Right.
There are decisions and commitments and maybe even sacrifices that need to happen.
And it cultivates that appreciation,
Right,
you know?
for sure.
And that leads us beautifully into the second part of this resource, which is all about putting together a family meeting.
Ooh, a family meeting.
A family meeting for finances.
Yes, okay, I like it.
So it's about getting everyone involved, especially the kids, and giving them that firsthand look at what it takes to run a household.
Instead of just seeing the end result,
Yes.
the food on the table, the roof over their heads,
Warm house.
the warm house, they actually see all the work that goes into making that happen.
The planning, the decisions.
Yeah.
It's going to be really eye-opening.
Eye-opening, and I think it can build a lot of respect too,
For sure.
Yeah.
And the main goal of this family meeting is to actually hash out those financial goals together.
So not just like we want to save more money, but like really specific.
Specific. What are your dreams?
Yeah.
What are your aspirations, big or small?
And everyone gets to share.
Everyone gets to share.
Right.
And the material really emphasizes creating a safe space,
Yeah.
where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts.
Because you don't want anyone to feel like their dreams are silly
Or unimportant.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
that they can't contribute.
Exactly.
And it's also really important to start early with kids when it comes to understanding budgeting.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Laying that foundation.
laying that foundation. It's
Yeah.
about building those financially responsible habits from a young age.
Right.
And the material even suggests discussing specific items, like saving for college,
Okay.
planning for that car upgrade, maybe addressing those bigger house expenses, and even starting to think about long-term goals like retirement.
So they can see where the money's going.
Exactly. It's transparency.
Yeah.
It's awareness.
Cool.
And then on a practical level, the material says get all your financial documents together.
Like our bank statement.
Bank
Right.
statements, investment information,
Tax returns.
maybe even a list of your debts.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
It's about taking a real honest look at where you're at financially. No sugarcoating.
Yeah. No rose-colored glasses.
Now, rose-colored glasses. And then it talks about cultivating this positive attitude,
Okay.
this willingness to work together to identify and eliminate those unnecessary, those frivolous spending habits.
Now, what one person considers frivolous might be different for another person.
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's about having that conversation.
Yeah.
What truly brings value versus what's an impulse.
Yeah. Love that.
And that brings us to the third part, evaluating your financial standing.
Okay.
Now, this isn't a one-time thing.
Right.
It's like a regular checkup.
Like going to the dentist.
Exactly like going to the dentist for your finances.
I like that.
You got to do it regularly to make sure everything's in tip-top shape.
So you know where you are and what adjustments you might need to make.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the material makes this really important point that a family's net worth,
Yeah.
all your assets minus your liabilities, it's constantly changing.
Okay.
And a lot of that is due to external factors, things you can't control.
Like the housing market.
The housing market, the economy in general. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So regular evaluation helps you stay informed and make those smart decisions.
Informed decisions. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens after we evaluate?
Well, the outcomes can vary.
Okay.
You might realize you need to tighten the belt a little bit,
Yeah.
cut back on some spending, or you might find that you've made some great progress.
Ooh.
You've got some savings that you can maybe enjoy a little bit or reinvest to reach those long-term goals faster.
So it could be good news or it could be like, all right, time to bubble down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the key here is that whole family commitment.
Right. Everyone's on board.
Everyone's on board working together towards those shared goals.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It really does. And the material highlights this really cool thing. It's the liberating effect of even those small wins.
Yeah.
Even saving a little bit as a family can be so motivating.
It's like proof that it's working.
It's proof that it's working.
Yeah.
And then the evaluation can also lead you to think about investments.
Ooh, investments. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. But of course, this is if your situation allows for it.
Right. You don't want to overextend yourself.
You don't want to overextend yourself exactly. And the resource is very cautious here.
Okay.
It talks about understanding your risk tolerance. How comfortable are you with seeing your investments go up and down?
Right. Because they do fluctuate,
They do fluctuate.
you know?
And it emphasizes that investing is a long-term game,
Long-term game.
So be prepared for that.
Okay, so let's say you've looked at where you stand and you're like, okay, we could be doing a little bit better here.
Yes.
Time to eliminate some of that extra spending.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Right, this is where it gets real.
This is where it gets real.
So they're saying after that evaluation, you might realize, hey, some changes are in order.
Yeah, you might need to tweak things to stay comfortable and avoid that dreaded debt.
The dreaded debt, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Right.
And the first step is really understanding your spending habits.
Okay,
Where is your money actually going each month?
so track it.
Track it, write it down, create a detailed list.
I could see how that could be really eye-opening.
It can be so eye-opening. You might be surprised.
You think you know where it's going, but you're like,
Exactly. You're like, where'd all that money go?
where did it all go?
And they got this great technique they call it the 24-hour rule.
Oh, okay.
So before you buy something that's not essential, wait 24 hours.
Oh, I love that.
Often that urge to buy
Yeah.
just fades away.
Yeah, you realize you didn't really need it.
You didn't really need it.
I'm going to try that.
It's a game changer.
Okay, and once you've identified those areas for savings, act fast.
Act fast.
Don't wait around.
Don't procrastinate.
This changes quickly.
Quickly so you can see the impact.
Okay.
And often this means tackling those unnecessary purchases, those frivolous indulgences.
The things we don't really need.
The things we don't really need exactly.
Yeah.
And they have this great tip
Okay.
Shop with a list,
A list.
a needs-based list.
I love lists.
Lists are amazing.
Oh, yes.
And stick to it no matter how tempting those bargains might be.
Oh, those end-of-aisle displays, they get me every time.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
Stay strong.
Okay.
And then they suggest looking at your entertainment expenses,
Okay.
maybe cutting back on those pricier items.
Right.
And they have a fun alternative.
Okay.
Home parties,
Home party.
where everyone chips in.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's fun, it's adventurous,
It can be.
and it's definitely easier on the wallet
Definitely easier on the wallet.
than those overpriced, crowded venues.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's about reframing how you think about fun.
Okay. I like that.
And that leads us to the fifth part, finding ways to have cheap fun.
Cheap fun, sometimes it gets a bad rap,
It does.
but it can be the best kind of fun
It can be the best kind of fun.
because you're not stressing about money.
Exactly.
All right.
The goal is to create memories without breaking the bank.
And they give some really good examples.
They do like packing a picnic.
Oh, picnics are great.
Make your own food, find a beautiful park.
Yeah.
It's simple, it's enjoyable,
And it's free.
and it's free.
Or nature hikes.
Nature hikes.
Hikes, get some fresh air.
Fresh air. Appreciate the beauty around you.
And again, free.
And again, free.
Uh,
And don't forget the library.
the library is such a great
Such
resource.
a treasure trove of books and other resources.
And so much cheaper than buying books.
So much cheaper.
Right.
Especially if you're a bookworm like me.
Oh, yeah.
And they also mention visiting museums and cultural exhibits.
Okay.
Often those are very affordable.
Yeah, especially if you look for free days or discounts.
Free days, discounts, family passes.
Yeah. There are ways to make it work.
There are ways to make it work. And they also list some really fun activities.
Like what?
Like flying kites,
Oh, kites.
going to the beach,
The beach.
walking in the park, playing outdoor games together.
Those are classics.
Classics, and they emphasize the family building aspect of these.
Oh,
It's not just about saving money, it's about connecting.
connecting and making memories.
Making memories, exactly.
Okay, now for those of us who are managing finances with a partner, this next part is really important, getting financially in sync with your partner,
Oh, that's crucial.
because disagreements about money can cause a lot of stress.
Huge source of stress.
Yeah.
Huge source of conflict in relationships.
So communication is key.
Communication is key, and the resource starts with this really important, but maybe a little scary first step.
What's that?
Full financial disclosure.
Oh, lay it all out there.
Lay it all out there.
Okay.
Incomes, debts, spending habits,
Yeah.
past, present, the whole 9 yards.
Be transparent.
Be transparent, even if it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because that's the foundation for trust.
Trust and understand.
Trust and understanding, exactly.
Okay.
You both need to know where you stand.
So no secrets?
No secrets, no surprises.
Okay, got it.
And the resource really emphasizes that this transparency helps prevent future arguments
Okay, so you're on the same page from the beginning.
from the beginning.
Okay.
And then once you've got that clear picture, it's time to set some goals together.
Shared goals.
Shared goals.
Okay.
And the material highlights that working towards those shared goals can actually bring you closer.
Oh, that makes sense.
You know,
You're working together?
you're a team.
Yeah.
You're both rowing the boat in the same direction.
Love that analogy.
And it can be really enjoyable
Yeah.
if you're both committed.
Yeah, you're both in it together.
You're both in it together.
Oh, okay. And then comes the budgeting part.
Yes, the nitty-gritty.
Creating those joint budgets.
Joint budgets and supporting each other and managing those commitments and the spending.
And it's a two-way street, right?
It's a two-way street.
You're both supporting each other.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But it's also important to respect each other's needs.
Right.
You know, maybe one person needs a little more spending money for their hobbies
Yeah.
or their little indulgences.
The little indulgences, right?
You know, it's about finding that balance.
That balance between the shared goals and the individual.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about all the good stuff.
All the benefits.
The benefits of managing your finances well, but what about the flip side?
Ah, yes, the dangers.
The dangers of neglecting your finances.
This is where things can get a little scary,
Yeah,
but it's important to talk about.
it is.
And the most immediate risk is debt.
Debt. Yeah, that's a scary word.
It is a scary word.
Yeah.
And it can happen so easily if you're not careful.
Right.
But the good news is,
Okay.
with a little effort and the right resources, you can avoid it.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, you don't have to fall into that trap.
Okay.
But if you don't take control of your finances, things can spiral.
Okay.
You can end up in so much debt that it's almost impossible to recover.
And in the worst case scenario,
Bankruptcy,
yeah.
which is obviously something you want to avoid at all costs.
Absolutely. So take action early.
Take action early.
Before it gets to that point.
Before it gets to that point.
Right.
And the material also points out that without a budget, without that financial order, it's almost impossible to spend wisely.
Because you don't know where your money's going?
You don't know where it's going. You don't know what your priorities are.
It's like you're just throwing darts in the
Now
dark.
you're guessing.
Yeah.
And that can really damage your financial credibility.
Right.
Both individually and as a family.
Yeah. That can have lasting effects.
It can have lasting effects.
Okay.
And then there's the very real possibility of losing your current lifestyle
Oh, wow.
because you can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you're struggling to make those payments, and that can lead to a lot of stress and frustration.
Definitely.
And it can really strain those family relationships.
Yeah. Money problems can do that.
They can.
So we've really covered a lot of ground here.
We've looked at the importance of planning those family meetings, evaluating your finances,
Cutting back on spending.
finding ways to have fun on a budget,
Getting financially in sync with your partner.
and the dangers of neglecting your finances.
Woo!
It's a lot.
It is, but it's important stuff.
It's important stuff.
And this resource, familyfinances.pdf,
Yes.
really gives us a great starting point.
A solid foundation. A practical framework for approaching family finances in a more organized and collaborative way.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think in a more empowering way.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Think about how powerful it could be to really open up those conversations about finances within your family. Talking about your dreams, your worries, where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Could that not only lead to better financial health, but also stronger relationships?
I think it could.
And so what's one small step, maybe even a slightly courageous step, that you could take this week to start that conversation?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Something to ponder.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.